All right. Okay. So when we talk about CarbRepel, we talk about ThermExcel or weight loss and liver support. It's a specialty product. You guys have heard my position on weight loss and how you attack it first, right? Obviously diet and exercise, but when the supplement piece comes with it, that it's always, no matter what, multivitamin mineral first, and meal replacements is always my first insert into anybody's program would be meal replacements and the multivitamin mineral. And so they can work them in, because as we've already heard a million times, meal replacements are the #1 therapy treatment for weight loss. It beats any prescription drug, hands down, all the time. So again, that's an exceptional way to attack weight loss for people that struggle with it. But these are now specialty products that kind of go to a different place. So that's one I got. So again, this is beyond the multivitamin, mineral, and meal replacements. And this is part of the series that we've been doing on all of our products. So one more little piece here. I'm going to put this all up here so you can just see it real quick. These PowerPoints are certainly for you to download, and all they are is taken from the PDSRG, your Practitioner Dietary Supplement Reference Guide, from that very, all peer review quality documentation about our products. And the reason that we have to do this like this is it is an extension of our certification. And for those of you that don't know, we just got our certification approved by the American Dietetics Association for dietitians getting continuing education credits. Now, that is a huge coup, if you can only imagine how big that is for you. This now, just the credibility that it brings you, the recommendations that we do. In other words, this is a very supplement-heavy certification that we do, because all we do is teach you how to use the program, which is licensed to be able to use for non-dietitians for you. Okay, so it puts it in the scope of practice. And then it really covers 3 hours of the supplementation, which is why we don't do all of them. So this is outside the certification, which is what I'm giving you, because they have to have all this documentation in order to have it continually approved. So that's why you see it heavy with text. There's no reason to make it any different. But the salient points are here, and that's all I'm going to do on the webcast for you, bottom line. But knowing this is in the introduction to our weight loss section in the Practitioner Dietary Supplement Reference Guide, and just so you kind of understand how we set this up. And this is pretty much talks about how difficult diet is and challenging, and almost everybody gains the weight back in the first year, unless there's some financial motivation, like some of the people we work with are very financially motivated to reach their goals. But your movie stars and of course athletes and so forth, but the average person's not. So we know there's problems, and that's where this type of supplementation comes in. So these references just kind of cover all that. The other important part about supplementing, of course, is to avoid the loss of lean body mass. And that is, of course, filling those unavoidable nutrient gaps caused by the restricted food intake, okay, which is a huge one and the most important part. Sort of very minimum, we talk about the multivitamin mineral. But going beyond that, besides filling gaps and preserving lean body mass, we also want to avoid plateaus. Otherwise, people will surrender. That's what I always like to call it. They surrender, back to their old habits and so forth. Because the body's constantly building a defense against losing weight, because you're not supposed to lose weight. And if you gain it, the body's actually happy, of course, until your health is compromised. But then if you can use supplements to increase energy expenditure and, of course, manage appetite until the life conforms. So the statement around that, I'm going to give you down here at the bottom, is this. I want to make sure you guys all know that. Other than the regular use of, this is our final statement on all of these things, okay? And that is, other than the regular use of a multivitamin and meal replacements, which can be used successfully throughout life as, of course, an adjunct to traditional daily food planning, the dieter or your client would cease use of any of these specialty supplements like CarbRepel, ThermExcel, or weight loss and liver support. They don't need it. Hopefully, they're either at their goal or they have their life under control where they don't need the extra help. And there's nothing wrong with them taking it for a long period of time, for a couple of years. I mean, that wouldn't really make any difference other than there's a financial burden, one, and there's no reason to become dependent upon these things in order to do that, because the whole goal is for us to get their life to conform so they have everything under control. So that's really, and I'm very clear in the PDSRG, we should cease the use of these specialty weight loss supplements, and we only have the 3 of them, and CarbRepel is one of them. So the bottom line is this: if you're going to use supplementation beyond the multivitamin mineral, which is the one that fills your known caloric deficits, obviously, it's got to somehow fit one of these criteria. One, help create and maintain a calorie deficit by increasing calorie expenditure, so it needs to be able to do this. And by the way, look at the bottom thing, all compared to a non-supplemented state, protect lean body mass, raise energy levels, in other words, make you feel more like, Thermic Cell, for instance. Thermic Cell will raise energy expenditure, without anything. It'll actually raise your basal metabolic rate, so just your resting energy expenditure, but it also keeps you more active during the day. So you're actually, non-forced energy movement is happening, okay? So raise energy expenditure. And then the other one, the one we're going to talk about today, is reduce the drive to consume food or to decrease caloric absorption. And on that note, that's where we end up with CarbRepel. So let's just go straight to CarbRepel. And this is going to be very short, everybody, here, so we can hang out and talk more about weight loss products or specialty products, even though we'll do Thermic Cell later. So I got a surprise for you on that one. I'm altering the formula, and it's going to be something that's going to be very, very special. Okay, so again, this is the label here. The idea of CarbRepel is decrease calorie absorption, feel full sooner, longer. That's really what the goal is of the product. So simply reduce a significant portion of carbohydrate absorption. And the whole idea between that would be, especially for people that crave carbohydrates, all of us have a sibling, a parent, or someone in our families that is a carb hoarder, eater, those type of things. And this is something that really was designed for that person that really does eat a lot of carbs, okay? Now, again, when we put someone on a program, why would we need this if they're not getting all these crazy amount of carbs? Well, they could be cheating, or they could have a bad day, and then this stuff actually works and makes a difference, okay? Or it's just the thought process, and it can make you fuller because of the Phaseola vulgaris bean. That's what it was. It's like a fiber. So it can also be used sporadically on days, and you guys I know you guys are, not you guys are guilty of it, but people are, we call it a party supplement. When we're going to go out and we're going to drink and we know we're going to eat snacks, take a couple of CarbRepel before we go out to kind of block some of that stuff getting in there. So yes, if you're eating carbohydrates regularly, we can cut down some of the calories. And when it comes to the amount, it really depends on how much CarbRepel you're actually using. But it does, without a doubt, it works. And so what's the rationale for that? Well, when it gets right down to it, carbohydrates are a natural craving for human beings. Okay, we evolved that way to actually crave sweetness, because sweetness to ancient humans, as they foraged for food, meant immediate energy. You knew that just like today, if you eat sugar, you get you immediately, glucose is very fast into the bloodstream, and you now get it to working muscles. So we've naturally craved that our entire lives. To completely avoid it, for any of you that have ever gone through any kind of diet with a very low carb, like I did as bodybuilder, as you're getting ready for competition, and we always have to cut them back, you start craving carbs like you can't even imagine. You get to a point where you even crave foods you never even liked before. So it's always a difficult thing just to actually cut them out. So we always, in all of our diets, as there's carbs in there, okay? And the problem with, one of the things I put in here also was that the more carbs you eat, the more desensitized you come to them. It's just like, how many of you know that, hey, listen, I'm full, but I still have a sweet tooth after dinner or after lunch? You know what that is? That is nothing more than you're not high yet. That sugar high or that sweetness just was never satisfied. And the more we kind of take in sweets and the more we take in carbohydrates, the more desensitized we can. We need a little bit more to satisfy, a little bit more. And again, I hate to use this analogy, but the drug addict, it just never gets as high. So there's a continual cycle that they get in. But it does happen to us. We now know this from our opioid receptors and all kinds of little brain scanning that we can do for people that really struggle with sweets. So this product really is kind of designed for that. But it also allows your regular reasonable amount of carbohydrate to get into the body, but blocking some of it. So now we've been able to lower the amount of calories that are going into the body just by simply taking something before a couple of the meals. Reduce the calorie intake, but give you the satisfaction of the carbohydrate, because you still have the mouthfeel. You have the mouthfeel, you have it going into your stomach, so you're still getting, the brain is going, oh, okay, that's cool. So it's kind of a little bit of a trick, if you will, to a certain extent. All right, and then the other thing is that obviously it would reduce glycemic index of foods just because it's blocking it. So you really need to think of it as a fiber, a prebiotic, not a probiotic, but a prebiotic is nothing more than a kind of group of fibers there that can actually go in and block things from being absorbed. You all know that if you eat a lot of fiber, it's common in weight loss, or it also helps, push stuff through the stomach and the intestines before you absorb it. It moves all the food products through the system faster. And the common white bean, Phaseola vulgaris, is what this compound is. That's where it's from. And it produces an amylase inhibitor. So amylase is the enzyme in the body that breaks down carbohydrate. And if you break down carbohydrate into the single molecules, it gets absorbed into the body, right? So if you're an inhibitor, like this particular fiber, if you will, if you're an inhibitor, it blocks it and it allows carbohydrate to begin to slowly push through. And yes, the more you take, the more it will push through. And, that could cause you probably don't want to be in the same room with a lot of people at that particular time. But again, there have been about 3 or 4 good clinical trials. When I say good, they're all solid clinical trials that show efficacy, but there's one in particular that really kind of gives you the picture of how this thing really can make a difference for some people. But so let's take a look. I left this in. So Rob, I think Rob's traveling today. I always look like his slides. This is what he uses to teach. It just tells you, if there's only, this one slide tells you everything, by the way, what it actually does. Inhibits the enzyme that blocks carbohydrate and lowers your GI. So that's basically it. But here's what I wanted to show you. This, because people always ask, well, how much does it block? Well, there's a better question. What happens if you use it? Because there's no way of telling how much carbohydrate it blocks for each person. Okay, but we do know it blocks a certain amount, and that's all been measured and tested. But this study here was done back in 2013, and this is probably the best of the group. And the reason is because it mimicked free living. So what they did is as you can see on the left-hand side, you take a look at the weight loss with placebo, which of course is the white bars, and then the dark bars are weight loss with the using Phaseola vulgaris, which is again phase 2. So. And it's obviously there was pretty much no weight loss in the placebo, or not really measurable, but significant in the phase 2. So, but now, so that's cool, right? And again, there was no restrictions here. This is basically pretty much your free living now, but in the weight maintenance phase. They had the diet phase, which lost the weight here, and as you can see, well, why would phase 2 lose more weight than the placebo if they were all on the same diet? Well, obviously part of the calories were blocked for this group and they were able to stick to it. But there's a couple of other points here. Now, what they did is they did a weight maintenance phase, which went on for about 24 weeks. And if you take a look at this, and this is not, and no diet restrictions in the weight maintenance phase, when they followed these people up, and look at the right side. When you look at the numbers, and I highlighted it down there, the weight maintenance phase, 36 out of 49 subjects, so that's 73% were able to maintain their weight without diet restriction. That's like a miracle. As you know, only 5%, maybe 10% maintain their weight after weight loss. So that was pretty amazing all the way around. And again, so it just shows you that there is some significant value to this. And again, and this is nothing more than a fiber, so these people could probably keep taking it maybe if they needed to for the rest of their lives. I prefer you get your life under control and start, doing the rest of it. But anyway, so again, but the other thing here, look at this. During the weight loss phase, the participants in the weight loss phase found no hunger differences during dieting compared to normal living, and that's huge. So I was talking about how the body, can accept the fact I'm getting carbs, but we're blocking it from getting inside. So pretty neat little stuff here. This is a better one of all the other groups. The other ones are small studies, but this is worth it. So we felt good about it. So here, let's do a quick summary of key points. All right. So when you take a look at it, it is basically, if you look at all the studies, about 1,000 milligrams ingested before a meal of the typical American Western diet, if you will, which is usually certainly greater than 30% carbohydrate. It appears to be safe and effective, obviously, compared to placebo. So anyway, these are just the different things we already talked about here. And typical use then would be as a non-stimulant, and I'll answer a question that I always get here. Fat A for those who tend to enjoy or overeat carbohydrates. And even if you don't, it's worth putting in there to help you block a few of them getting in there and get over a hump. And then anyone seeking to enhance body fat reduction without affecting the nervous system, same thing, discontinued, all that. Okay, So 2 tablets twice daily, 30 minutes before your largest meal. So that's the trick, right? Will it work if you forget and you take it with your meal? Yes, but I would argue it won't work as well. You definitely want it sitting in there and kind of breaking apart in the gut. Then the food would come in after that, and then you would get a little more punch for the carbohydrate there. But that's a tough one. So it's setting your alarm on your clock, on your phone, or whatever you need to do on that to really give it value. But if you're going out to dinner, it's pretty easy. That's pretty, if something just taking the car on the way to the restaurant or whatever else you're doing, and you'll be pretty set. Oops. Sorry about that. Okay. And I think that is the last slide. I think that's it, everybody. So let's open it up to questions, Kat.
Okay. Very, very cool. And as Neil pointed out too, we do a lot of the research reviews on weight loss ingredients, and there's just not a lot out there that's evidence-based, but Neil's got some really cool things up his sleeve for the upcoming reformulation of ThermExcel, so stay tuned.
Unfortunately, and I don't want to get anybody too excited. First of all, we all know ThermExcel works fantastic just as it is. But I am putting in a new polyphenol that's got some really strong science behind it that's going to probably, this could change a lot for people. We're adding it obviously to our thermogenic blend, will stay the same, but adding this particular polyphenol in there has the ability to increase energy expenditure even further than the green tea and the caffeine and everything else that's in there, and do some other things about actually signaling genes to increase the use of fat for energy. So it's partitioning it's partitioning where you draw energy from. It's nice. It's gonna be pretty nice, but it won't be until, Chad, what do you think? Early next year? Yeah, we're gonna we'll do a 2-for-1 or a 1.5-for-1 or something on ThermExcel before the end of the year, so that we can get that out, and then we'll be able to launch this thing sooner. I'd love to have this ready by January 1. That's really kind of the goal on ThermExcel. Anyway, I don't want to take away from CarbRepel, so let's go ahead and get some questions.
Okay, so if you've got questions, what you need to do is just open up, expand, if you will, the questions tab in the GoToWebinar window and type them in there, and we will start taking them. So I see some coming through. Let me go ahead.
By the way, this isn't coffee, this is scotch. I used to have my own television show, up in San Francisco, and I was a bodybuilder. And so everybody had all kinds of stuff, in their coffee cup, and it was never coffee. It wasn't me. I always, because I wasn't drinking that at all.
Sure.
But everybody goes, what's in that coffee cup?
Okay.
All right.
So Nicole wants to know, what is the recommended intake for the ThermExcel?
I didn't hear it. I'm sorry.
What is the recommended intake for ThermExcel? And do you mean ThermExcel, Jacqueline, or do you mean CarbRepel? Well, why don't we just do both,
Yeah, I'll do both, yeah. So you got the one up here for 2 tablets, 30 minutes before a largest meal. And, and the same thing with ThermExcel, I do like it sort of before a meal, but it's not necessary. Not its function you can pretty much take, but it's 2 tablets daily. And I do know people that have taken more than that, and you can, but that's a lot of caffeine. And that's the only reason it's limited to 2 daily.
Right. That's 2 tablets is 350 mgs of caffeine, correct? Right,
yes,
Neil?
350 in the 2 tabs, right? Which is, no, it's not. It's Chad, look it up. I think it's yeah, I got it right here. Hang on.
And in sensitive individuals, that can be a little bit overwhelming. So depending.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's 175 in a serving, so it's 350 with a 2.
So it could be a little overwhelming, so you could start them out slower.
175, just so it puts in perspective for all you, 175 mgs is a little more that's in a, what do they call them at Starbucks, the middle size? No, the middle size.
Grande.
No, in the middle size.
Oh.
Isn't there a middle size? Grande, yeah. Okay. Yeah. I don't go there. Yeah, I know, yeah, right. So yeah, the Grande is about 150, 160 mgs of caffeine if you drank that whole thing. But remember, caffeine anhydrous, which is what we use in any, like when we work out Extreme or ThermExcel, caffeine anhydrous is the actual methylxanthine, the caffeine drug itself. So everything else is removed. So by taking it it's a little stronger than drinking it out of a coffee. That's why we want to control it. But that's how we treat endurance athletes. All use caffeine, of course, but we use the pill form, not the coffee form. Coffee form is just too much of a shot in the dark. You don't know what you're getting.
Okay, cool. So Matt Peterson, he wants to know any CarbRepel and other vitamin or supplement counteractive issues. So do they interfere with each other? I'm assuming is what you mean, Matt.
Yeah. There's no vitamin or mineral that we would know that would do that. To your point, if something else got blocked along with that particular carb and what was in that carb that you were blocking, I suppose there could be some, but there's no record of it. There's no record of any of those things. And of course, the good news is all of our clients are taking a multivitamin during that period.
Good question. Okay.
Yeah, good question though. Very good.
And then Karen says it's short, tall, and then grande.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's right. Tall, grande, and venti.
Isn't there venti in there or something? Anyways, Byron wants to know, would doctors say that the citrus pectin included in the blend is inherently different or unique from non-citrus pectin found in apples?
Yeah, it's not. It's an insignificant number, which is why I didn't talk about it. I just want you to know that. If you take a look at, like in the PDSRG, it's in there because it actually comes with the phase 2. What manufactures phase 2 is a patented formula. It's got all these, you can make all these weight loss claims because they've done the studies and so forth with it. So it comes with the pectin, but they'll manufacturer always try to sell you on making a claim. And obviously citrus pectin is a nice fiber that could also help with the same thing like a prebiotic. But that amount, look at the amount in there. I don't even think it's actually listed on the label. That's how small it is. So I can't make a claim for it like they do. I refuse to. So I don't think it's doing any good. I think it helps it flow. It's an excipient that kind of keeps it together. That's why it's in there. Other than that, I can't say it's enhancing anything that product's doing.
Okay, cool. Hope that answered your question, Byron. If not, type in a follow-up. Jacqueline also wants to know, is there a benefit from taking CarbRepel with weight loss and liver support?
Ask a question again, Kat.
Is there a benefit? Is there a benefit from taking CarbRepel?
Yeah, I absolutely. They're both different mechanisms of action, obviously. With the you've got an appetite control with the African mango and the weight loss and liver support. You've got the EGCG, which helps partition nutrients. And then if they're, and again, that weight loss and liver support was really designed for people that are a little more overweight, because, obviously if you get fat, your liver gets fat. And when liver gets fat, that's called ectopic fat, which is fat that's just not supposed to be in that muscle. And it gets in your muscles as well. And so some of the other ingredients like N-acetylcysteine and even EGCG, and of course, most importantly, milk thistle, they go right to the liver and help clear out that fat to get things moving and get the liver healthy, because without the liver being healthy, you don't even do much. You don't do a great job with fat metabolism. So yeah, they're completely different products, and it'll be no problem mix it. And I know, Kat, you do that with some of the actors and actresses we work with, get ready for a movie. We give them all 3 at once because there's no financial problem with that, and of course we're just all 3 pretty much have different mechanisms. And Thermocel's the only one that's a stimulant. And the reason there's no caffeine, and just to answer this question on Ask the Experts, there's no caffeine in the weight loss liver support, even though it's got green tea. That's a green tea extract. And when you get an extract, you standardize it to a certain amount of things that you're looking for, right? So, and we were looking for, of course, the epigallate. And so we standardize it to that, and you can remove the caffeine simultaneously. So it has less than 10 milligrams, which is less than a decaf. So you don't have to even call it out at all. So it's a non-stimulant.
Yeah.
So yes, the answer is yes.
Cool. And I was going to say that all of our pro competitive athletes, our physique athletes, whether it's bikini or physique, they all swear by that stack in the final weeks of dieting for appetite control and energy. I mean, I know that's not a controlled trial, but they all sort of say the same thing.
Yeah, and if it's financially feasible, I always ask, you guys always, you've heard me say this a million times. First thing I ask the customer is how much money you got. You know, and I give you a minimum. If you multivitamin, that's all you get because you have to have that. It's criminal if I don't make you do that. Yeah. But after that, you know, I just build it, you know, based on that. And as Kat said, if we got someone getting ready for a wedding, movie, you got someone getting ready for a high school reunion and they're behind schedule, all three of these will make the journey a heck of a lot easier. That's for sure. Yeah. And that's really what the goal is with this stuff.
Yeah. So another question coming in from Natasha. She wants to know, will taking this after a certain time at night cause issues sleeping? Good question.
Well, thermic cell for sure. Obviously, CarbRepel, no. In fact, you might even sleep better. Weight loss liver Spartan, no. It should not. And then, of course, thermic cell, yes. We have very clear on our label.
Okay. So
yeah, right. Yeah, because you obviously you're taking these before a meal. So no, but again, thermic cell, I would go for a very minimum 4 or 5 hours before bed would be the last time you'd want to use it. Like for me, I eat dinner right before I go to bed. So for me, that wouldn't work, right? It would definitely keep me up. But the half-life for all of you on the phone here, so or on the webcast here, the half-life for caffeine is generally about 4 hours, which means it is no longer truly effective, but it's still in the blood. It doesn't take much caffeine after that 4-hour clearance to go back up. And half-life is a term we use for drug potency. You know, how long is that drug still potent in the body? How long is that vitamin or mineral or other compound still above at a good physiological level where it's making a difference? And caffeine's about 4 hours, really depending on your metabolism, because there are people that are affected more or they clear caffeine slower than other people, okay? And caffeine kind of creeps on them. Then it can be up to 6 hours, you know, for a half-life or an effective dose. So keep that in mind.
Okay, so Natasha, fine for CarbRepel, for thermic cell, between 4 and 8 hours, avoid before bedtime, depending on how the body reacts for that particular person. Okay, another question coming in regarding the references in the supplement reference guide for CarbRepel. Are they conducted / provided by DotFit or by Phase 2? This is a good question.
Yeah, they're never provided by us, okay, for the obvious reason that it always cracks me up. Anytime a supplement distributor, now we're of course we're an R&D house, but a supplement distributor does a study on their own product, everybody goes, yeah, you did it yourself, so you're motivated to do it. I go, well, what about drug companies? Don't they do the same thing? They spend billions of dollars of their money supporting their drug and they get it out. So it's always comical they do it. So no, of course not. What we do, and if you look at any study, in all through the PDSRG, you know they're going into and looking at that ingredient, so Phase 2. So Phase 2, obviously, to get the patent, has to do the study. No one else can do it. But they take it out to they do it to college, so it's a third party doing it for them. That's how any patent, you can't get a patent unless you are doing that. Okay, so yes, they do the studies. Then what we do is we take a look at the studies, and this is where it gets a little tricky for everybody. Not for you, but I'm just saying everybody else out there, is this: we take a look, what was the dosage that was effective, what was the dosages that were not effective, and this is at every product now, and find out the dosages that were effective. So the preponderance of evidence is that is the dosage that showed positive results in clinical trials done by someone else, not us. Then what we do is we send that to the manufacturer and tell the manufacturer, that's what you make. You put that dosage in there. If I went to a manufacturer and let them put dosages in, they would just drop it down. They wouldn't even come close to. That's why mass market, almost everything is underformulated. They're just trying to find a cheaper way to sell so they can keep selling it. But it's not effective. So we make sure it is an effective dose. Then we send it to the manufacturer to make it. And then I send it to a third party to test it to make sure that dosage is in there. I don't trust the manufacturer. I'm not saying they would do it. They would never screw themselves on purpose since I'm paying them, but they can make a mistake. So that's what the third party test is about. When you're someone like us, you know, we are a research and development firm. So we're a practitioner product. So we need to follow that rule to live in that world of a practitioner product, and you're the practitioners. So that's how it works. We look at the studies that are done by someone else, usually colleges or any of the things. You look through the PSR, you'll see the thousands and thousands that are in there, all peer-reviewed stuff, all submitted, already went through peer review uh, investigations, use that number that they discovered that was positive, and then put that in the formula, and then send that for third-party testing to make sure it's there, and then we give it to you. We make it works.
Okay, so I hope that answered your question, Byron. We don't do studies, we don't conduct them, we don't fund them, right? And then also, to be crystal clear, the third-party testing that Neil talked about is not mandatory by law, right? It's all voluntary to verify that our products work.
And it's a significant cost, which is why no one else does it unless you sell into pro sports like we do.
Right. Okay, so here's another question coming in. Is there any issues with staying on this for an extended period of time if having issues reaching fat loss goals? Another good question.
So is there an issue of staying on this for any length of time? The answer is no.
Okay.
No, there would be no issue with this. It'd be like, staying on a high fiber diet for a long time. It's not that much, certainly not that much.
Right. Right.
And there's been no safety issue. I mean, I don't know of anybody that's ever been on it longer than a couple of years or a year or anything. One of the good things, kind of going back to that last question as well, when you take and you make products like we do, and you've got and again, so everybody knows here, I'm going to knock on wood, we've sold billions, literally billions of dollars of supplements since we started our businesses, back in the late 80s and early 90s and so forth when we first started. So billions over time. Never, and we knocking on wood, never had a lawsuit, because we have gone through all of the safety measures, everything that no one else does. They just see something that was in the news that might have worked, and they throw it on the shelf someday. So we've been able to do all those things, which protects everyone. But the other part is the feedback from the field. When you look at what these supplements have done for all the people that have used them over these years, and think about this now, we have 40,000 fitness professionals that deliver these things around the world. 40,000. That's a pretty big number, and millions of clients that have used these things all effectively. So that's what we call empirical data. Take China, for instance, and by the way, they live longer than we do. That Chinese or Eastern medicine, they don't have clinical trials. These were just a test of time. This is what we call empirical data, use of experience. So we have the two. We've got everything on the clinical side here, and then we've got also empirical data coming from the field, such as you, that these things are working and working very, very well.
Okay. All right. So another question coming in: can there be any negative side effects from taking this product?
We have not seen any, and in all the trials here, if you go to the PDSRG, there were none listed any more than placebo. Remember, that's what you look at. So I think there were 70 people in this last trial, whatever it was. And if you look at, there was no adverse reactions any different than placebo, because anybody could have an adverse reaction and blame it on something. So it was equal. So what you're looking for always is anything that was different from placebo, and none on these trials anyway.
Okay, cool. So Elizabeth has a question.
I've never, it's interesting. It's a good question all the way around, because I've never got no one's ever sent in a note saying, hey, listen, one of my clients took CarbRepel and they started breaking out. Is that common? Where I've had that with almost every product at some point, right? So I had that person, I'm not breaking out, but this person did that. Is that possible? And we record all those things to see if there's ever more than one or two for any product. Mm-hmm. We haven't really had anything, but I've never had any on CarbRepel at all.
Yeah. Interesting. If this product is a white bean extract, so white kidney beans, to repel carbs, is it logical to assume that a diet with rice and beans is also effective?
Is also effective?
Mm-hmm. Any
fiber. I absolutely. I think any high fiber diet, not rice so much, obviously, but any high fiber diet, and beans for sure. If you look at the digestibility of food, that's kind of how we look at things. That's why the high fiber diets, what they do is they move food before it can get absorbed through the tract, and sometimes it's just blocking it and moving the motility of just the foodstuffs that's left after digestion is just going a little bit quicker. So if you ate a diet only of beans and rice, I'm not sure how healthy that is at the end of the day, but At the same time, again, I'm not sure if that's something comfortable for people. The idea of CarbRepel is that you're eating a normal sort of style diet, and if it happens to be a little heavy on carbs, this can make a difference there. And I think and beans aren't designed to actually block the amylase. They really would just help move things through your system a little bit quicker.
Yeah, so you're not going to extract the same amount of phase 2 out of your rice and bean diet as you are from, specifically from the white kidney.
You'll digest it down to that compound. The whole idea of an extract is to take it out of the food product or the natural source, just like vitamin C, taking it out of the orange and getting it to you straight. It's 10 times more potent.
Yes, but to Elizabeth's point, rice and beans can have a health benefit, just not the same effect, right?
Correct. Absolutely.
Cool.
In fact, beans and your beans and lentils and so forth, combined with whole grains and so forth, as long as it's whole grain rice, obviously not a refined rice, a very, very healthy diet.
Right. Okay, some more questions coming in. What's the shelf life of CarbRepel, and do ingredients become less effective after a certain, she says lifespan, but I'm assuming shelf life.
Yeah, so it is 2 years. It is 2 years. And I would say the whole idea of an expiration date, so everybody knows, as the law requires, an expiration date. And what that means is that if you bought it on the last day, so let's say the last day was July 20th, 2018, and if you bought it that day, it is still potent and is within 10% of the label claim. So if you had a multivitamin and you were claiming 300 milligrams of vitamin C, it's got to be at least 290. Okay, so we know that's obviously still effective. So that's what that means at an expiration date. Now, I suppose, and I would guess you got another year or so after that before anything would get to a point where, and also depends on how many times you open the bottle and leave it open. If you open the bottle and leave it open, it will destabilize and you begin to lose potency over time. You'll never get hurt or get sick eating something that's expired, trust me. It's just going to be less potent. But the potency at the 2-year expiration date needs to be almost exactly the same as it was when you put it in. So that's when it starts to degrade. And we do all this. They put them actually in a metabolic chamber that actually disintegrates it faster and accelerates it so we can know exactly when that thing is going to go down that way.
Okay, cool. And then another question, is this tested for banned substances since this is used for athletes?
Yeah, no, we don't use it for athletes at all, just so you know. We do it for our I'm sorry, that's not true. We use it for the ones that are not drug tested. They'll go on a weight loss one, but our NSF line, so let's talk about that for a minute. Our NSF for sport line, all products are third-party tested. CarbRepel is third-party tested. Go up on the website and you'll see the company that does it. It's all written on our on the manufacturing document up there. So it is third-party tested. And yes, an athlete can use it without a problem and will never get cut. But what the NSF certified for sport does for us, it's a fourth party. So everything's third-party tested, but then we have to send it out again. And what they do is they drill down and do different tests to make sure that no medications that might have been floating around in a manufacturing plant somewhere drifted into a tub of whatever raw materials are going into the product. Now, we already know in the places like where CarbRepel is made, they are clean rooms, so there's no way that could happen, no matter what. But again, they still won't accept it in pro sports unless it's NSF certified. That's the deal they have with NSF. NSF certified for sport. So it is an added test looking for contaminants that they're not allowed to have. When I say contaminants, it would be drugs. It wouldn't be anything. And they also look for other things as well. But the drugs are the main thing there. And then third-party testing for something like CarbRepel, we're not digging in for that. We already know it's made in a clean room, so that couldn't happen. So I hope that kind of explains it to you.
Okay.
And by the way, I've got two of my sons are professional athletes. One actually in the NFL, the other one's a fighter. So again, a very violent family I raised. And they're drug tested regularly. And they use plenty of our products that are not NSF certified for sport. So no one has a better test than I do. I have human beings in my household, and of course all their friends, they play in the NFL too. They're over all the time, and they take our products, even the ones that aren't NSF certified, they take. and they're always come out clean. In fact, Nelson just got drug tested, I think 2 days ago, because he reports to camp on Thursday. And yeah, again, they always come out clean. So I got the best test of all, blows NSF out completely.
Yeah, I have one too.
And you too, right? And Kat too. Kat's got a player, Division I top basketball player, drug tested.
Okay, so last question. It looks like if you guys have some questions you're really wanting to ask, now's the time to do it. So type it into the questions tab. Can you talk about proprietary blends? I've read that it's a red flag to have a proprietary blend. Does DotFit have any?
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. As far as I'm concerned, it's a non-starter. In fact, even with all our pro teams and everything else, if you got a proprietary blend, you can't use it. The reason for proprietary blends, if you spend like a ton of time and money putting together a formula, like I did actually with Amino Boost back in 2005. I actually wrote a chapter 1 year of research and going through all the different studies and then trying it out with our NBA players and using it and all of that stuff. You want to hide that formula because you don't want people just to knock it off and sell it cheaper than you. It's just like drug companies get 7 years before the drug gets released to generic making, so they can make all their research money back. So that was the reason behind original proprietary blends. Everybody does it now to hide the formula. And I would agree with you 100%. It is a red flag. We have it says proprietary blend on our formula, but we have all the ingredients listed. So it's kind of stupid, right? Not just listed, we have the actual amounts. And we even go further than that. I give the incipient amounts. If you go into PDSRG and you look down and, all the little stuff in there that you don't even have to put what's in there. So the answer to your question is we have no proprietary. Yes, the blends are proprietary to us, but we expose everything that's in it. And that way, now here's why the red flag. That's why by looking, if we're putting all the ingredients and the amounts down, because we want to show you those are the ones that are effective in clinical trials. Everybody else with proprietary blends, they just put the whole number down. Yeah. 3,000 milligrams of a proprietary blend. Well, guess what? If you divide it up and you look at all the ingredients, not one of them is an effective dose, and that's how they hide it. Right. They hide it in a proprietary blend. So good call, whoever that was.
Yeah.
We have none. We have not exposed all the formula.
Yeah, so Neil is very detailed oriented, if you haven't noticed. And so he said in the beginning of the webcast, right, there's a practitioner dietary supplement reference guide that has all of the, not just ingredients, but dosage forms and studies. So anything you want to know about any of these ingredients, what forms they're in, all of that is online in the Learn section in the supplement guide. So
and the amounts.
And the amount.
So anybody can go there. Let's stay with me here. Anybody can go there, copy our formulas, and go make it. But guess what? They'll end up charging you twice as much. We make about this much on our supplements. We make about half or a third of what they make in the mass market because their stuff is so watered down. It costs them $2 to make something, costs me $6 to make because I put the right amounts in, which is usually 3 times more than the watered down amounts. And that's what the difference is. So if they try to copy ours, they're going to be more expensive than us.
And remember, you guys, by law, by FDA mandate, companies can make supplements and they don't have to prove that what they make is safe or effective. So to Neil's point, they can sprinkle in a little phase 2 and call it a starch blocker, but that doesn't mean it has the right amount of dosages. So
right. We call that window dressing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I look at some of these products and I go, and I got a good story I'll tell you guys on the next webcast. But I'm in a room and they're showing me all the formulas they made, and I go, but who made these? This wouldn't help a mouse, let alone a human being. So we call that window dressing. They have all the right names in the formula, but nothing effective.
Yeah, even NSF certified for sport products, you guys.
Yeah, and even right, that's exactly right, Kat. I mean, good point. You can NSF certify something. That doesn't mean it works. Yep. It just means that there's no drugs in it.
Yeah.
Okay? So, and it means that the label claim is correct. It does mean that. Well, the ingredient amounts are correct. Well, what if if I put 2 milligrams of vitamin C in something and the NSF certified for sport 2 milligrams of vitamin C, so what? It didn't do anything, but it's got 2 milligrams of vitamin C. Yeah. It's got and I've seen a ton of that with that product called Thorn. I mean, these guys put in like 2 grams of 2 milligrams of 2 grams of leucine in a branch chain. Really? You're talking about maybe a rat of a 200-gram rat, or something. I mean, it's embarrassing. It's not going to do any good. But people, leucine, that's a branched chain. No, it's not. It's useless. But it's not certified for sport. Yeah, okay. That just means that it really does have a lousy amount of leucine in it. That's all it means.
Right.
You got to live in this industry to really understand how nasty it is. It's nasty. Right. You guys are all protected.
Yep. So dig into our supplement reference guide and really understand that what we do in terms of research and third-party testing is really pretty rare.
It's rare. It's non-existent. No one does. I mean, it's totally non-existent.
Okay, so
that is the difference, because we are an R&D company. We build exercise programs, nutrition programs, supplements work if you make them right. You just got to make them right, and you got to control every piece of it. Otherwise, it's just part of the rest of the world out there. Yep. I always challenge everybody on this. I love all the people that shows up in the webcast, because it's so much better than just listening to a recording. So I really appreciate you guys showing up for this. But I always challenge everybody, take the PDSRG. I mean, if you're on this webcast, you're interested in nutrition, and you're interested in the specialty part. And the specialty part is things that can get people to their goals faster, to get them addicted to fitness faster. That's what our goal is. Our simple goal in life is to get people to addicted to fitness so they never want to stop doing it, period. And supplements can make a big difference on that, because we accelerate the goal, right? And we can maintain lean body mass during weight loss. But we also want people to live longer. We want them to play till the very end. Till the very end, do whatever the things they love to do. We can do that by supplying the body all the things we're not going to just accidentally get through diet. So I challenge every one of you guys, just every day, or every other day, just read one paragraph of one product in the PDSRG. Next day, read the second paragraph. Next day, read the third. After about a week, you're going to have one product done. Or after 2 weeks, you have one product done. Even if it's a month, at the end of a year, you'll have 12 done. And you'll really understand not just what we do, but you'll understand the product in depth. And that's really, and that's going to be huge. And you guys already know, I'm that guy that since I was 24 years old, I told myself I'm going to learn something new every day, but I'm not just going to learn it, I'm going to apply it to my field the next day. I've never stopped. I just turned 66 the other day too. So I've never missed a day. So just add that little piece.
Yep. And then if you don't understand anything, come to the webcast and we'll answer all your questions. So
that's right. That's right. And ask the experts. We have that now on the website. So make sure you guys use that anytime you need it.
Yeah, it's actually Ask the RDs, right?
That's right. That's right. Ask the RDs. Yeah. So that's right on the homepage. You can always do that. But you guys have my email. I give my email out to all of you guys. We don't exist without you. And it's neal@dotfit.com, NEAL@dotfit.com. You always get me. And everyone that's ever done it, and I bet most of you have, you send me an email and you get it back well within the 24 hours, generally immediately.
Yep. Okay. I think we got one last question here.
Okay.
And that's on the Amino Boost. How many milligrams of leucine, isoleucine, and valine are present in the product? We answered that for you, but we'll answer it again. Go ahead, Neil.
Well, you're talking about one scoop of Amino Boost?
Yeah.
Look at the label. We published it on the label. So that's your job. Put it this way, I do know it's all I care about is the 4 grams of leucine in the one scoop. So we do know that. The rest of them might be, you might look at 600, whatever it is, but you just look at the label. Like I told you, we disclose everything.
Everything is on the label, Byron. So Neil,
disclosed.
Homework.
And if you don't have the label, just punch it up on the website. And if you don't have to, go to the PDSRG.
Right. It's all transparent.
I just can't remember the exact number right now.
So okay.
I don't have one here. I'm just looking for that. I was just looking to I was kind of teasing them, but I don't have an Amino Boost here to give you the exact number for that. All I care about is the 4 grams. It's in another room. But just punch it up on the website and look at it. If someone gets it, just type it in right now for them.
Okay. So I want to let you guys all know that next month we're hosting the Vegan Multivitamin Webinar. We're excited to let you know that our vegan vegetarian line will be 100% complete with this product. And do we have any update on manufacturing? It's still slated to be ready.
Chad's here, but I mean, so we're looking at the 20th or something, right? The 20th of July. I'm sorry, August. Yeah, I'm losing it.
20th.
Yeah, so yeah, the 20th of August it'll be in, but we want to do the webcast somewhere right around that time as well. And then we want to make sure you know our vegan line. I mean, like, who would guess that all of our creatine is vegan friendly? You know, I mean, so we have the whole lines up there. We have it listed on the website. It's been there for a long time, but a lot of people just don't know how much it is. And we're going to come out with a vegan amino boost. And by the way, just so you know, the only reason we don't have everything in vegan is because our distribution channel for it is not that much, which means I can't make the minimum runs. If I make the minimum runs of vegan multi, even vegan amino boost, or any of these things, I would end up expiring 3/4 of the product before any of you were able to sell it throughout. Now, maybe you have a lot of vegan customers, but this is not the way it is in our distribution channel. Very, very, I mean, it's a small percentage, but it finally got, you know, as we grow, we finally have a big enough distribution channel to support, of course, as you know, the plant protein, and then, of course, now the multi. But we used to always have those things stuck on the shelf, and we ended up having to charge too much. No one could afford them because I had to make smaller runs, so it never made any sense all the way around. But, you know, as we grow and the distribution channel gets bigger, you'll find out we'll do a vegan bar. I got Chad working on a vegan bar, a nutrition bar right now. So we'll see a lot of that as the veganism is beginning to sort of get a little momentum right now.
Okay. Very, very cool. So Byron, hopefully you found it. If not, we've got 4,000 milligrams of leucine, 900 of the valine,
4 grams, just so you know.
1,100 of isoleucine. So there you have it. Okay.
The hell of a branch chain.
It's a heck of a one. So as you go shop around and look at labels, make sure you see those similar dosages as well as a third-party test.
And one of the great things about, you know, you can adjust it to any you want. I mean, our world's strongest men, they actually use 2.5, 3 scoops. And if you read the PDSRG, I do it by weight. It's very, very, I think it might even be on the label actually, but I actually do it by weight, which is a bit illegal because the FDA says people aren't smart enough to do the math. Well, I mean, when you work in pro sports like we do, you've got to do things by weight, like anything. So I just go ahead and cheat the system and do it anyway, and put it in the book and put it in the PDSRG. So you really kind of understand how that goes. But that's an amazing product all the way around, especially for people that don't work out, because it signals protein synthesis all day. And for people that don't work out, it can stave off that loss of muscle much longer than without.
Exactly. And you always say that we start to lose muscle in what decade of life, Neil?
I'm sorry, what?
What decade of life do we start naturally losing our muscle tissue?
In the 4th decade of life. And by the time you're 30, everything goes backwards unless you cheat the system, which is resistance training and feeding the body properly and, you know, doing that. Then you can keep muscle from being lost. But that's what happens for the normal person.
Okay, cool. And then sidebar, Byron says that he looked on our website under the product info, under performance, and the Amino Boost just shows asterisks. So Chad, we might need to check that out.
Oh, it's not updated? Amino Boost just shows an asterisk up on the website? Got Chad in here now.
If that's Chad will look it up.
Thanks for the catch. And by the way, the whole website's being redone right now too. So there might be some old product label. Is that what it is? By the way, punch up the PDSRG. You got all the numbers written right there. I know that. That's definitely there.
Okay. Byron says you guys rock. You guys rock too. Thank you for spending.
Yeah, you guys do. You kidding me?
With us.
Thanks for joining us.
Okay, so we'll see you guys.
And anything else, hey guys, listen, anything else you find on our website or anything, make sure you send it to us immediately. We make lots of mistakes.
Support at .fit. Okay.
The good news is not formulas and supplements. I got someone else checking them.
All right, everyone. Have a great day. We'll see you next time.
Oh, okay. We're looking at now. Yeah, there's no daily value in any of that. The amounts per serving are on there, though, Byron. We're looking at it right now on the website. But anyway, just no big deal. Yeah, I just got it. It's there. Okay, but thank you.
Okay, cool. Good to know. That's it.
Thanks, everyone. See you next month.
Bye.
See ya.